Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, J.I. Colorist. My name is Jody and today we are going to do some coloring in this lovely book. This is the Green Ivy, also Eunyoung Lee is the illustrator, but most people call it Green Ivy. This one is Beautiful Days, 4 Seasons. It is her second book, I believe. And I know she has a brand new book out, and I have seen a couple of tempting flip throughs, but I have promised myself not to buy more books of an artist until I have actually used the ones that I do have a little bit more. So I am going to color a book. I also have a challenge to myself to color more in my foreign coloring books this year. So this is a foreign coloring book. She is a Korean illustrator, so I'm pretty thrilled to even have this book. I am going to pick a page from the spring section of the book, and the book is divided up into the 4 different seasons, and I have decided to color this page here. So I'll give you a look at what the picture itself is, done by the illustrator, the artist, and I am going to take some reference from this, but I'm also going to make quite a few changes because even though I am given the image of how it looks, I always like to bring the page to life for myself. So I've got a couple of pieces of paper behind this. I am going to be so I'm just going to close the book for a minute. In the month of June, I did a video haul at the end of the month, and I showed you that I have Ecoline markers that I added to my collection. I also added a few more collections of the Faber Castell Albrecht Durer watercolor markers. I plan on using those as well as probably maybe a little bit of the Kuretake Fudibori brush markers. That's water-based dye ink. And I also have a Caran d'Ache palette that I'm going to use on the side. So I'm going to, because this is not watercolor paper and I have not treated it, so I am going to use the markers on the palette, pick it up with a paintbrush, and I am going to be using a standard watercolor paintbrush. I've got 2. One is around 8 and one is around 4, and hopefully those are sufficient. I don't want to use this kind of water brush right now because I want to control the amount of water and the intensity of the pigment. So that's best done with this type of brush. And I'm probably going to do a voiceover of what I'm doing so that I can concentrate and do this. So I may put on a little bit of music and do a voiceover. So I hope you enjoy my watercolor / coloring attempt at the beautiful 4 Seasons by Green Ivy. All right, let me get set up and we'll get started. I will put on screen the which marker I'm using as well as the number. So this is Beige Red 132, previously known as Light Flesh. And I'm just using a damp brush. Hopefully that it dries quite a bit lighter. Now this is a brown, but I'm going to make it a little red wagon. So this is Geranium Lake 121. I have two Cool Gray markers by Albrecht Durer, and it is Cool Gray 4 and Cool Gray 6. So I'm using the Cool Gray 4 at the moment. I'm going to now take Cool Gray 6, and that will be the darker gray. I'm wiping off my palette periodically. Okay, now we're bringing in May Green 170. We're going to do some of the foliage. Doing all of the leaves that are in similar shape and size, the same color, and then I'll come in with a different color to do some of the other leaves. I'm going to come in with a dark phthalo green, and I'm just going to deepen up a little bit of the color, so do a little bit of color mixing, just to get some other colors going. This is basically basing everything at this point, because I will come in and deepen up the shadows and the colors, just kind of getting a base color down. Okay, I think those are all the leaves. Let's bring in an Ecoline brush pen, and we will do the color Pastel Violet. I'm just going to put it on my palette, but I'm going to leave the green there in case I need to fill in some green. For this next little section, you're seeing me using the actual brush pen directly to paper. I wanted to see how it worked. This is also a pastel color, so I wanted not to dilute it with any water and bring it directly to the paper. So, and now I am bringing in the green from the actual palette, and I'm just dotting it in and deepening up some of the colors. So that's what I'll do for the next little bit, is using some direct to paper and some from the palette. And I have the blue violet, so I'm going to bring that in, and that'll kind of be darker color for a bit of shadows. Okay, how's that looking? And I'm going to bring in an orange. I'm changing the colors of the flowers in case you hadn't noticed. I'm going to do some make these more like daisies or black-eyed Susans, a cheerful flower. I'm going to bring in a saffron yellow. It's a 245 Ecoline. And I'm going to use that on some of these pots. I'm starting with that color because if I go over top of it with a darker color, then this can be the highlight. And I was kind of thinking terracotta kind of colors. I'm going to come back with the pale geranium lake. Make sure my brush is clean. Just putting a little bit more pigment on some of their areas. I do want it to look weathered. Now I missed a leaf here, or at least I'm making a leaf, so I'm just going to bring back my green. And I think I'm going to do some green and yellow mixed and just fill in some of these kind of blank areas so that there's just a bit more foliage. This is Sepia Light. It's 435 and Ecoline. Go direct to paper. I'm going to find a warm gray. So this is warm gray 3, 272. Okay, Okay, we're going to make the cat cold gray 4. I'm looking, oh, here we go. I'm going to make the cat cold gray 6. Okay, just kind of fade him in. All right, and we're also going to, since we have this out, we're going to do the bottom of her shoes. And we're going to do a little bit more shading on the wheels. Let's see how the other side of the paper is doing. It is soaking in a bit, so do need to make sure I'm being careful and letting things dry, not applying too much. Okay. What's nice about the Caran d'Ache palette, or any glass or smooth surface palette, is the watercolor. You can reactivate it with a little bit of water and come back, and so that's kind of a nice feature. Do a little bit of shading on some of these leaves and just fill in any blank spots, adding a little bit to the purple flowers here, and picking up some more purple. We're going to work on her hair. I'm going to use gray, and it is cold gray 4, and I'm going to go direct to paper, and I'm going to use the smaller end. Not covering everything because I'm going to come in with the darker. So I'll let that dry. But in the meantime, I think I'm going to pick some colors for her dress. And the smock is blue, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to do the direct to paper. So this is in Danthrum Blue 247. Now the rest of it I'm going to do in the Ultramarine 120, but because there is quite a large area there, I'm going to bring it to the palette. And I'm going to water that down because it's quite a bright blue. And they had stripes on the smock on the picture, but I'm not going to do stripes. I may do a few little flowers or something like that. And then I'm also going to do this underside here. Okay. And I might as well do her hat. Okay, we're going to let that dry, and then I'll be back, and I'm going to do her little pants in the matching color, but I am going to bring it onto the palette and water it down, and even mix it in with the other blue so that we'll have both blues together. I'm going to do a bit more darker blue and pick that up because I want the cuffs to be darker. Okay, we're going to let this dry for a bit and then I'll be back. While we wait for the blue to dry, I'm going to zoom you in a little bit, and I'm going to bring in the pale geranium lake, and we are going to do the boots. I want them nice bright red. The boots will match her little wagon. I want to age the wagon a little bit, so I'm going to try this deep ochre color, see if that works. Kind of looking for, I may bring in the Fudanuski and add a bit of, so this is the color olive green. And I'm going to mix that in with that. Okay, we'll let that dry and see how that looks. Just trying to make it a little bit more battered. Okay, this is still damp, so I am going to looking for a light brown. See if I have something in that color. I'm gonna come in with the blue. It's pretty dry now, and I'm going to just put in a few spots where there should be some shadow. Because it's not watercolor paper, it is hard to blend. Well, I've got these green colors. I'll just quickly paint the butterflies just so that they're on the page. I haven't really been looking at what colors she has, the illustrator has been doing her stuff, so maybe I should check that once in a while, but I am just kind of going with the colors that I feel like and the colors that I have on hand here. So I do want to do this. Orange would be good. If I look at my color wheel, orange, yellow, red. So light yellow would be fine. I do have some light yellow. In fact, I have one that's called pastel yellow. So let me clean off the palette, and going to quickly use a spray bottle to wash off half my palette so that I have a clean area, as the pastel yellow is quite a light color. I'm going to leave the puddle of blue that I have here so that if I need more shading on the girl, I will still have it. We will avoid this area right here because it's still quite wet. And this is 226, which is pastel yellow. I'm gonna make sure my brush is nice and clean, and I'm gonna give the yellow a little bit of water. I'm definitely going to want to, originally I wanted to do washi tape on the clothing here, so if this yellow doesn't turn out, I may do some washi tape, so we'll see. So this wet on dry technique, I am being careful not to kind of run into anything else that is wet, because it will bleed, as you can just see a little bit of that just did, so I'll have to be a bit more careful. The Ecoline brush pens also come with refills, and I will show you what those look like. Maybe I'll just put a picture on screen. Okay, we're going to leave it like that to dry, and I'll come back and we will probably do some more. I'm not sure if we're going to do some more watercolor on this or we're going to finish the page off with pencil, but we'll let it dry sufficiently so that anything we do on top doesn't further damage the paper. All right, see you back in a while. Here's an example of how the Ecoline brush pens come with refills, so you can buy them individually. I've also bought like an 8-pack, and they come so this is black, so they're all numbered. They are liquid watercolors. You can use them straight from, oh, careful not to drip anything, but you can use it straight from the here onto a palette, or you can refill your marker itself. The markers are excellent. They actually just screw off, and you can use a pipette and refill it directly into there. There is a sponge in there, or a fibrous thing that will absorb that, and then here is your nib end. And if you notice, I'll just put it back on and take the cap off. The nib on this side is exactly the same as the nib on this side, so you are able to double-ended nib. Once this one, if it gets frayed or damaged, you can remove it, flip it around, and reinsert it. And I believe you can also buy replacement nibs. So these Ecoline brush markers are pretty great in that you can get, they don't have a huge range of colors, but sufficient enough that because they are watercolors, you could also mix and blend them. But they are made by Royal Talons, and pretty happy with them so far. They're made in Germany, and like I said, you can get, and the bottles, sometimes they have a dropper, so they're a different bottle. So this might be an older looking bottle, just so you're on the lookout for them. But yeah, it's pure watercolor. And that's all I wanted to share about that, just so that you understood a little bit more about these pens itself. On the flip side, the Faber Castell Albrecht Durer, they are not refillable, which is unfortunate. but they do have the two ends. And there is light fast information, and they do follow the color range, and they match up to the rest of the Faber Castell line. So the Pitt pens, the Albrecht Durer watercolor pencils, and the Poly Chromos all combine with the same color ranges. Okay, back to letting this dry. Okay, I'm back. The page has dried. There is quite a bit of warping. It will flatten out with time and a heavy book on top, but I do feel that the paper has been changed with the addition of the water. So I would not recommend this book as a watercolor book, even with the way I brought the water over, and I didn't use an extensive amount of water. There still is quite a bit. So for the rest of this video, I am going to switch to using Poly Chromos pencils, and they will go hopefully on top smoothly. And I am going to lower the camera just a little bit, and hopefully you can still see. And what I'm going to do is come in. So basically this has been based with colors, and now I can come in and deepen up. So the first thing I want to do is I want to come in to this wagon, and I want to deepen up some of the colors. So I've got the dark red, and I'm going to go along the kind of the top edge and put in where the top of the wagon would be, because there's a bit of a line up there, and I didn't put any pigment up there. So that's how that's going to look, and I'm just going to use the side of my pencil, and I'm going to add a little bit of shading. So I'm just trying to roughen it up a little bit. Let me zoom in a little bit for this part. And I want to cover up all the colors that I've already put on there, but I do want to deepen this up a little bit. And I'm just using the side of my pencil so that it's a little bit more organic. So that's that, and that was again 225 dark red. Now I'm going to come in with 283. It's a brown, and I just want to, anywhere where it's super light, just kind of want to add a little bit more. So I'm not going over the whole area, but I do kind of want that to look a little bit more rustic. And then I'm just going to draw a line underneath on the bottom. So I'm using this instead of, using the pencil instead of a gel pen, because I want this to be a little bit more rustic. Okay, so that is the wagon a bit more defined. And again, if I want to bring back a little bit of the red, I can bring back the deep red on top of the brown, just to give it, make sure that we remember that this is a red wagon. I'm just working basically on the side and kind of scumbling. I don't plan on using any Gamsol, so I'm just gonna, because this wagon is old rusty one, so I'm not trying to make it look super smooth, because I'm fine with the texture there. That's the wagon. I'm going to come in with a cold gray 5, and I'm just going to go along, and I'm going to actually sharpen my pencil. Just going to add a few darker lines and a little bit of shading to blend in. just doing kind of the back half, so the back or the front, I guess it is, the front of the wheel, and then I'm putting a little bit more shadow where I had the shadow before, just to reinforce what I had already done with the watercolor. Okay, so those are the wheels, and just check this, make sure there's no white spots on the handle, and that's good. Zoom you out a little bit, there you go. I'm gonna add a little bit of shading on the cat's ears where there would be the inside of the ear. There, you can see him a little bit better there, and maybe a little bit. I anticipate he's got an arm, but there's no arm hole there, so I'm going to kind of put in a little bit of mark there to kind of indicate an arm. So there, now he's not armless. Now I have left some white for the hair. I'm going to take a cold gray 2, so that is lighter than any of the grays I've used so far, and I'm just gonna take away the white part and kind of fill in where I did not have color before, because she has dark hair, but we wanted some highlights. So now the white of the paper is gone, but it still looks a lot lighter. Now I'm going to take a micron pen. This is a 0.03 micron pen, and I'm just going to come and give this hair some definition. So it's braided. Okay, so that's her hair. Now the marker that we used before, let's take a quick look. They were the Faber Castell, so it was 247 and Danthrum Blue, and also Ultramarine 120. I'm going to grab those same colors. So I've got the same colors in Poly Chromos, and I'm just going to come in, and any spots that I didn't get, or if I need to fix some shadows, just going to tidy up a few areas. Okay, like here. Okay. I'm going to come in with 145 Sky Blue and just kind of smooth out. So anywhere where I've not got enough pigment, I can add some, and then I can blend it in with this sky blue. Just trying to give her a little bit more shape so she doesn't look so flat on the page. Alright, now let's move on to the head. So it's going to be a little bit darker where the seam is, and a little bit darker on the bottom. And then I'm going to blend that in. There's a design right here that I'm going to use some gel pen and put those back in. Just adding some shading. So again, the two colors that I'm using, the darker one is Ultramarine 120 and then Sky Blue 146. Okay, let's grab a yellow. I'm going to grab a yellow. I'm going to grab a similar color to here. Just get it working. Okay, and then I need a green. And I need a brown. I'm going to keep these colors out because I'm going to use the same colors down below. I'm just going to add a little leaf on the side of those. They're not there, but I'm going to add one anyways. I'm going to make these flower a little bit. There is our flower. And I'm going to zoom down, and we've got flowers right here. Going to add the center, which is going to be brown. And I'll do that for the flowers down here as well. Okay, I'm happy with the flower here, and I'd like to add some to this area as well. So I'm going to add a flower to the pocket here. So you'll see only a part of it, but you'll know that it's the same flower. So add the flower there, and I'm going to add a little bit of greenery. And then the brown. Okay. Now, obviously I can't do, well, I mean, I could do yellow flowers on here, but I don't think that they would turn up as well. But I am going to go and trace over these lines and see how that looks to get rid of some of the dark lines with the yellow. Now I don't necessarily want to get rid of all of the lines, like I want to keep that line there, at least for now. PC 105 cadmium yellow. I find that the Languo gel pens, you have to clean off the tip quite often because the acrylic, that's basically paint in there, dries on the nib. So I do find I have to clean that off. Okay, so now that I've defined this a little bit more, I can get rid of this dark line there. That's how the dress is looking. We're gonna let that dry, and I probably should have done all my shading first before doing the gel pen, but typically in real life this is what I do. I kind of cover the lines, and then kind of it's more noticeable to me where I need shading. Okay, we're gonna let that dry, and I'm going to come in with the same blues that I was using before, and I'm going to work on her little pants. This time I'm going to use the Indanthrum blue, and I'm going to, where there should be darker areas, And then come in with the lighter blue to kind of blend that in. And we need a little bit of shading. Okay. We're going to do the Languo gel pen trick again. Okay, so picking out of blue, I'm going to select this a little bit darker one, and it is from the blue style. Set. And I'm just basically trying to clean up the lines here. We're going to have to go over her boots too, because they're not quite as red as I would like. Now let's also do the lines a little bit on her hat. So okay, I'm not going to do the very bottom, I'm just going to leave it like that. I may put some yellow kind of dots along the bottom here. Just kind of add a little bit. This is the light flesh, which is the same 132 that I already used on her skin, and just going to add a little bit of shadow on part of her skin. Okay, and her neck seems to be okay, so I'm just gonna leave that. Okay, let's work on her boots. So this is mid cadmium red 217, and just putting in a little bit of shading on our boots. Just keeping it nice and light. Okay. Let's zoom out and take a peek at how our picture is looking. Okay, we've zoomed out and we're looking at our picture here. We definitely need some shadow underneath. So let's go with a yellow olive green. So the shadow would be totally underneath. And then darker where there is the wheels, so darkening that up and coming out. Okay, and I chose green because I imagine that she's outside, there's grass somewhere, so we've got a lot of greenery already on the page. We're going to take a break for now. I will come in and we will do a little bit of gel pen on some of these leaves. Just giving them a few stems, a couple of different colors of green, so they're not all the same. So where we had the stems, I'm just coming in and putting some of those in. Again, this is another color green, so not all of the leaves and stuff will be the same color. All right, now I think we need to do some kind of small pattern on the little girl's dress. So I'm going to stick with the color scheme that we're going with. So I'm going to do little blue flowers, and so I'm going to zoom you down, and we'll figure something out. But before that, let's do a little bit more shading on her. So it would be a little bit darker under here, and this is actually too bright. So let me find a yellow that's a little bit darker. Okay, so this is the light yellow ochre. This one here is green gold. And then we've got cream to kind of blend those colors in. Now if you go over the Languo gel pens, this is going to happen where the gel pen has been scraped off, so I will have to come back. So once I pull out a gel pen, I typically leave it out so that I can do repairs. So you really should do your gel pen as your last part, but as I mentioned, sometimes I do things out of order. So I'm doing the shading first, because once I come in with the gel pen to do any type of design, I won't be able to go over this again. The shading that I want done now. Okay, now I'm not going to be able to use Gamsol or anything on this to blend it out, so I am blending with the lighter color, and that's because I don't want to be using Gamsol on top of a watercolor. So that is something else to kind of keep in mind. Order of operations, just like math. Now let's come back in, and I'm going to go and fix. Now before I go and make the marks that I want to make on the actual girl's dress, I'm gonna try a few marks with the gel pen and get things going. Once I've kind of figured out what I want to do, I will start in a corner and kind of work my way up. And make sure that you don't smear your gel pen. So I've got some peeking out and some going off. I have to turn the page a little bit. I don't want to. I have a scrap piece of paper beside it. If I find the gel pen isn't working, I'll rub it on the piece of paper to make sure it is working. So those are the ones down below. Like to tuck some underneath things, so like right here, it's only partially showing and partially showing. Now I'm going to stop there because sometimes less is more, and I'm just going to leave that and let it dry, and we will come back and see what else this picture needs. These butterflies look like they need a little bit of gel pen definition, and I think he needs a little pink nose. Okay. Okay, here's how our page is looking. Bring it up to you so you can see some of the design. I think we need to add a little bit of pink to our cat's nose, and just going to grab a skin color one. Okay, just a hint of color. I've also taken the middle cadmium red that I used to do some shading on the boots, and I've just done a little bit more shading on the corners of the wagon just to deepen up some of those shadows, just to kind of make it look rustic. So I think that that kind of looks nice. The other thing I did is I shaded a little bit more on the bottom of the boot. So just did a little bit more shading on the very bottom here and on the heel area there, so that the center is a little bit lighter. And that is what I'm going to do for those. I'm not going to overfuss anything, and I'm not sure about if I'm going to do any kind of background or sky. I might just leave this as is. And the shading on the boot actually was number 4, which is cold gray. So that is that. I'm going to get a orange colored, kind of a orangey brown. It's from the Morandi set. I'm just going to see, because I want to outline these butterflies. So let me zoom you in, and I'm just going to outline them in orange. And then I have a black. And I might just put some dots just to add a little bit more to those. Scoot back down here. Since I have the black out, I'm just going to come in and go over the nail areas. I have a gray sign pen. It is by Pentel, and it has the Fudenoski nib. I'm just going to tighten up some of these lines. And again, I'm just doing the one side, and then I'm going to now let's zoom out and take a look at how we're doing. This is green gold. Of additional color to these shaded areas so that it's definitely a little bit different from the shadow underneath the wagon. There we go. Okay. I could tinker around this forever, but I think that I'm going to call this picture for now. I may do a little bit more tinkering with the foliage in the basket, but you can see that on my completed pages, which will be in June. I'm not sure when I'm going to post this video, probably in July, because we are at the end of June here, but the completed pages video will actually be at the end of June. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had fun. I hope I was happy to have you along with me today as I worked in this book. And I'm going to sign off now before the tractor gets too much more noisy. All right, have a colorful and creative day, and I'll see you next video. Bye-bye.